Hello students, welcome to our online video tutorial class. So I think you have already seen the video whatever I have made on the chapter human reproduction. There actually I have made 3 different videos throughout which you can study entirely the chapter. So now the next chapter, that is the 4th chapter of the first unit, that is a reproductive health, that chapter we are starting today. So in this chapter we need to study about whatever the various kind of reproductive health related problems and whatever the types of strategies are present there to minimize those problems. So first of all, when we will be starting this chapter, we need to know what is the definition of the health. Health is actually the state of complete physical, mental, social well-being and not merely the absence of disease or infirmity. That means the physical, mental, social and behavioral well-being of any individual human, and that individual will be devoid of any kind of disease, and that is the condition is commonly known as the health. After the health, we need to know about the definition of the reproductive health. Reproductive health means the same thing according to WHO, World Health Organization. The reproductive health is a state of complete physical, mental, social and behavioral well-being, and obviously on that time there should not be presence of any of the disease or infirmity, as well as all these matters, that is a physical, mental, social and behavioral well-being, as well as there should not be any disease, there should not be any infirmity in that individual, that is entirely related to the reproductive system and its functional and its process. So this is entirely or commonly known as the reproductive health regarding the definition of WHO, proposed by WHO. Now the third point, next point is that we will be discussing now the various problems and strategies regarding the reproductive health. So let's see. These are the problems, whatever it is written, which are commonly found regarding the reproductive health. First one, that is the lack of awareness about or regarding the reproductive health. Second, there is a major problem of overpopulation in our country. That is also another problem related with the reproductive health. Third problem is the female feticide. That means the killing of the female fetus before their birth. That means within the mother's womb. Obviously we are doing that due to some superstitions. So that is also another problem in our society nowadays. There are presence of several STDs or sexually transmitted diseases or sexually transmitted infections. So those are also the same kind of problems which are coming or which is present under the reproductive health. And the last one is the problem mainly related with the reproductive health, that is the infertility problems, because nowadays it is a common problem in case of male as well as in case of female. They are suffering from various kind of infertility problems, and for that reason they can't conceive properly. So these are the problems. Now let's see whatever the strategies are there to reduce this kind of problems. First of all, we will be discussing about the problems due to lack of awareness. That means we are lacking the awareness regarding our reproductive organs, our reproductive system, how to maintain the reproductive health. So these are actually the results of lack of sexual health, resources and education. That is, in our society we can see now the unwanted pregnancies, so many unwanted pregnancies, because there is a lack of sexual health, lack of resources and lack of education regarding the reproductive organ, reproductive system, reproductive health. As well as due to lack of this awareness, we are also suffering from various kinds of unwanted STIs, that means sexually transmitted infections. So what should be the strategies to reduce this kind of problem, that is a lack of awareness regarding the reproductive system or regarding the reproductive health? Here some informations I have actually given you, that India was among the first countries to initiate the actions and plan to attain the total reproductive health and social goal. It is obviously India has taken the initiative at first. These programs called Family Planning Program, which was initiated in the year of 1951. So there are several programs, and out of that there is a one and only very important program, that is the Family Planning Program, by which the lack of awareness related with the reproductive health that can be minimized, as well as the number of new individuals who are taking birth, their number also can be get controlled by this family planning program, which was initiated, which was launched in the year of 1951. Improved program covers wider reproduction related areas, are currently in operational under the popular name that is called as Reproductive and Child Health Care Program. So this family planning program in this time or nowadays, it is actually improved more, and after improvement of the program, so many more aspects have been included within the family planning program. We are not doing the family planning. With that, the health care of the newborn child as well as health care of the mother is also included, how we will take the health care of them. So that's why the name has been changed into Reproductive and Child Health Care Program, or RCH. Main target of these programs are creating awareness among the people about various reproduction related aspects and providing facilities and support for building up reproductively healthy society. So these are actually the main targets or objectives, rather you can say, of these two programs. Various kinds of reproduction related aspect, we have to inform common people. We will be providing the various facilities regarding this reproductive health. We will be providing them support so that we can make a reproductively healthy society. Now the point is, government and non-government organizations, several NGOs are also, they are using audio-visual aids and printing media to create the awareness among the people regarding this reproductive health. Obviously, this is also the part of the program. This is a mode by which we are trying to spread the awareness. Parents, relatives, teachers and friends have to disseminate the information among the child also, because parents, relatives, teachers and friends, they are the most important individuals in any of the child's life or in any of the children's life. So obviously they need to disseminate the information within the child's mind. Introduction of the sex education is also very much needed in the school to reduce the misconception regarding the sex related aspects, because we are having so many sex related aspects, misconception. So those misconceptions has to be removed, and for that reason sex education has to be introduced within the school curriculum. Proper information about the reproductive organs, adolescence related changes, safe and hygienic sexual practices, sexually transmitted diseases, as an example AIDS, would help people, especially those in the adolescent age group, to lead a reproductively healthy life. So these informations, whatever I have just now told, if these informations are properly there to those people who are present in this adolescent group or in the puberty phase, obviously these informations will help them to lead a very reproductively healthy life. Okay, so these informations are, that's why very much important for them. Coming to the next slide, where it is written that people should be educated regarding availability of the birth control options, care of pregnant mothers, how it can be taken. We need to know, we need to be educated regarding this. Postnatal care, that means after taking the birth of the baby, whatever the care we will be taking or we can take, as well as mother care, child care, those things also we need to be educated. Importance of the breastfeeding, that is also very much important. Equal opportunities to male and female child. If the child is male, either male or female, equal opportunity they will be obtaining. So these all aspects we need to know, we need to be educated regarding these all aspects, so that the various kinds of problems regarding the lack of awareness, those problems can be minimized from the society. Awareness regarding problems due to uncontrolled population growth, social evils like sex abuse and sex related crime, etc., need to be created to enable people to think and take up the necessary steps to prevent them. So the point is, awareness regarding the various problems due to uncontrolled population growth, obviously the awareness regarding this problem has to be raised. Social evils like sex abuse and sex related crime, that should be minimized, need to be created to enable people, these things need to be created to enable the people to think, to take up the necessary steps to prevent this kind of problems. Okay, so all these informations whatever I have shared with you in these 3 slides, these are all related with the strategies of reducing sex related problems. So these are the all things whatever I have discussed, these are exclusively for reducing the lack of awareness. Now we are going for the next problem in the reproductive health, that is the overpopulation. Whatever the causes of overpopulation, obviously we know increased health facilities, better living conditions nowadays, rapid decline in maternal mortality rate, decline in infant mortality rate, increase in the number of people in reproducible age. So these are the common reasons which are actually causing overpopulation. So these specific reasons we need to keep it in our mind. Next, whatever the effects of overpopulation can be found in our society, there are various kinds of effects are present. As an example, unemployment, pressure on infrastructure of the country, decreased production and increased cost of each and every substances. Our standard of living is also getting reduced day by day. Various resource utilization, that opportunity is getting reduced, and lots of pollution. So these are the common effects of overpopulation, because we all know if the overpopulation can be found in any of the country, there should be a major problem, that is of the unemployment. Several people will be there, will not be getting any of the job. Obviously it will be creating an infrastructural pressure on the country. Production of each and every compound, it will be getting reduced, and automatically the cost in the market, it will be getting increased, whatever we can see nowadays in our country. Low standard of living also, our standard of living will be getting lower. Resource will be getting limited, because resources are not increasing like overpopulation or like the increasing of the population. So that's why resource utilization will be getting reduced. Lots of pollution will be created in the societies. So these are the common effects or ill effects, you can say rather, for overpopulation. Now what can be the strategies to overcome this kind of population explosion or overpopulation? We need to motivate the people in smaller families by using various contraceptive methods. We need to motivate them, don't create a larger family, create smaller family, male and female, that is mother and father with one child. So obviously smaller family means the overpopulation, it will not be created, and those problems whatever we have seen just now, those things also will not be created. Advertisement to reduce the overpopulation problems. We need to show more advertisement in television, in radio, in every kind of social media to reduce the overpopulation problem, obviously. So that, and by advertisement only, we can make the people aware regarding this problem. Statutory bans will be there, raising of statutory is there, which is actually saying that the marriageable age in case of female has been increased up to the 18 years of age, and in case of male that has been increased up to 21 years. So obviously the rules, laws and regulation has come, and where the age has been increased, in case of female up to 18 years, in case of male up to 21 years, for reducing this kind of overpopulation problem. Incentives also has to be arranged by the government, which will be given to those couple with the small families. Obviously incentive will be given to them who are maintaining or who are obeying the rules of regulation of the family planning and each and every program for reducing the population explosion. So they should be obtaining the incentive from the government. So this kind of initiatives, if we can take, these can be the strategies to reduce the overpopulation or the population explosion. Now we are entering within some of the methods which are commonly known as contraception methods, or these methods, you can use these methods, or we can use these methods for reducing the birth, or we can control the birth. So obviously by these methods we can control the population explosion. So let's see whatever the various kinds of birth control method or contraception method. There are mainly 4 different methods are present. One is natural method, second one is chemical method, third one is mechanical or physical or barrier method, and fourth one is surgical method. Within that natural method, there is two methods are actually written, abstinence and rhythm method, but we will be discussing more kinds of method within the natural method. Chemical method will be application of the contraceptive pills and spermicidal tablets, gels, jellies, cream, all these things. Mechanical methods are also there, that is physical or barrier method also, using condom, diaphragm, femidome and IUDs during the time of sexual intercourse. Surgical methods are also there, that is vasectomy and tubectomy, by which we can permanently make any individual male and female sterile, and by that also the birth can be controlled. Now we will be discussing about each and every method, and within each and every method whatever the further methods are present, how we can control the birth, how we can contracept anyone. So those things we will be discussing. First we will be discussing regarding the natural method of the birth control. In the natural method of the birth control, the first point is abstain from the intercourse. What is that? Sexual abstinence or sexual restraint is the practice of refraining from some or all aspects of sexual activity for medical, psychological, legal, social, financial, philosophical, moral or religious reasons. That means we need to abstain ourselves from the sexual intercourse, obviously by keeping our mind some of the reasons. Whatever the reasons, it can be medical reason, it can be any kind of psychological reason, it can be any kind of social reason, it can be financial reason, it can be philosophical reason, or it can be any moral or religious reason. So by keeping these reasons, if we abstain ourselves, if we restrain ourselves from any kind of sexual activity, obviously the birth will be get controlled. The number of individuals taking birth, that will be get controlled. Next point is there, or the next method is there within the natural method of birth control, that is coitus interruptus. What is that? Coitus interruptus is actually the method where it is also known as withdrawal or the pull out method. It is a method of birth control in which a man during the time of sexual intercourse withdraws his penis or male external genitalia from the woman's vagina prior to orgasm or prior to release or ejaculation of the semen within the female reproductive tract. So it is obviously an effort to avoid the insemination of the semen within the female reproductive tract. And if this kind of practice can be done, obviously birth can be controlled. So during the time of coitus, what we need to do during the time of coitus or sexual intercourse, the men have to remove his penis or male external genitalia or withdraw his male external genitalia or penis from the female reproductive tract, obviously prior to the ejaculation. So automatically if the semen will not be released in the female reproductive tract, there is no chance of fertilization, there is no chance of getting the female conceived. So this is the second method by which the birth can be controlled. Third point is that regarding the periodic abstinence. What is that? This is the approach entails not having sexual intercourse on the days of a woman's menstrual cycle when she could become pregnant. So obviously it is a specific abstinence or restraint during the time of menstrual cycle of the female, because in those time if you will go for any kind of sexual intercourse, obviously there is a chance of the female getting pregnant. So if we keep it in our mind that in that specific period any couple will not be going for the sexual intercourse, obviously that couple can control the birth. Lactational amenorrhea. Lactational amenorrhea is also called as postpartum infertility. It is a temporary postnatal infertility that occurs when a woman is amenorrheic and fully breastfeeding. That means after giving a birth of a child, for next 9 to 10 months almost, the level of prolactin in the female body remains high. So for that reason, the inner lining of the uterus, that is endometrium, it will not reform properly, and for that reason that female can't conceive also the newborn baby, or the female can't conceive any of the new child. So for that reason, during the time of lactation, the female can't perform, if the female also can perform any kind of sexual intercourse, but there should not be any fruitful result. So for that reason, lactational amenorrhea is the time period on which time, due to the lactation by the female mother or due to the breastfeeding, such kind of, you can say, the temporary infertility can be created in the female body. Because if the prolactin level in the female body remains high, the female can't conceive, because the uterus lining, endometrium, which is commonly getting produced as well as degraded during the time of menstrual cycle, that will not happen, and the menstrual cycle also, it will not take place properly. So there is no chance of getting pregnant. So these are the 4 different methods, whatever I have just discussed, which are related with the natural method, or which are under actually the natural method. Now we are coming for the physical or barrier method of birth control. So in the physical method of the birth control or the barrier method of the birth control, first we will be discussing about the condom. These are the barrier made up of thin rubber or latex sheath, and that are used to cover the male external genitalia or penis in the male just before the coitus, so that the ejaculated semen or the sperm would not released out into the female reproductive tract. And it has additional benefit also, that can prevent the sexually transmitted infections or sexually transmitted diseases. So this is obviously such kind of barrier method by which the sexual intercourse, during the time of sexual intercourse also, the fertilization process can be prevented, as well as several kinds of sexually transmitted infection or AIDS also can be prevented. Because when any individual male is covering his male external genitalia by this rubber sheath or latex, automatically there is no chance of releasing the semen within the female reproductive tract, and obviously there is no chance of getting pregnant. Next point is there, that is the femidome. What is that? These are also the barrier made up of thin rubber and latex sheath, and that are commonly used to cover the inner layer of the cervix and vagina, and that is also implanted, or that is also just kept in the place just before the coitus, so that the ejaculated semen would not enter into the female reproductive tract further. Because if this kind of sheath or rubber sheath will be just placed in the cervix and vagina region, if the semen also will be getting released into the cervix or vagina region also, but after that it can't enter into the uterus region, and it can't also move up to the next portions of the female reproductive tract where actually the fertilization takes place. So for that reason, femidome is also a very important tool, or rather barrier, by which birth can be controlled. Coming to the next type of the birth control method by the physical or barrier method, that is using diaphragm, cervical cap and vault. What are these things? These are also made up of rubber. These are inserted into the female reproductive tract to cover the cervix during the time of coitus. Obviously, they prevent the conception by blocking the entry of the sperm through the cervix. So these kind of rubber caps or rubber sheaths are generally or commonly placed within the cervix region. So if they are placed in the cervix region, obviously when the semen will be released or the sperm will be released in the cervix region, from the cervix it can't go for the upper region, that is uterus, as well as to the female reproductive tract. So by this specific type of tools also, the fertilization process can be prevented. Keep it in your mind, this kind of rubber sheaths or these kinds of components which are made up of rubber, they are reusable. Okay, so we don't need to dispose them, we can reuse them. So these are the figures of the diaphragm, cervical cap, and this is the vault. And in the previous slide, these are the condoms, and these are the femidome is also shown. Going for the last type of the physical or barrier method, that is intrauterine devices. That means these are the tools or some equipments which can be temporarily installed or placed within the uterus for preventing the fertilization. Whatever the types are there, and obviously keep it in your mind, these kind of devices are inserted by the help of doctors or expert nurses in the uterus region, specifically in the female. Whatever the types of intrauterine devices, there are three types of intrauterine devices are commonly present. One is non-medicated intrauterine devices, that means no such kind of medication or medicine is attached with it. Copper releasing IUD, that means the IUD which is releasing copper commonly. Hormone releasing IUD, that means the IUD which is commonly releasing hormone. So first one, non-medicated IUD. What is that? Example is Lippis loop. It increases phagocytosis of sperms within the uterus. So when it will increase the phagocytosis of the sperm within the uterus, obviously or automatically the sperm can't enter up to, or sperms can't go up to the fallopian tube. So obviously there is no chance of fertilization. Copper releasing IUD, what is that? CUT, CU7, Multirode 375, these are the examples of copper releasing IUD. So this kind of IUDs are releasing copper ions which is suppressing the sperm motility, and also it is reducing or destroying the fertilizing capacity of the sperm. That means capacitation of the sperm is totally get prevented by this copper releasing IUD or CU releasing IUD. Next point is there, that is the hormone releasing IUD. What are these things? Hormone releasing IUDs are those kind of IUDs which are commonly releasing hormone. As an example, Progestacert, LNG22, these are the examples. These are actually makes the uterus unsuitable for implantation. So if the fertilization takes place also, that blastula stage that can't implant in the inner wall of uterus, that is on the endometrium surface, and the cervix is getting hostile to the sperm. That means the sperms also can't move through the cervix in a proper manner. So these are the problems can be arised due to use of the hormone releasing IUD. So let's see the figures of these specific devices. This is the Lippis loop, non-medicated IUD. This is the copper T loop. This is the copper releasing IUD, and this is the hormone releasing IUD, where we are just implanting them in the uterus region and it is releasing continuously the hormone. Progesterone estrogen combination, that is the hormone is commonly used in case of hormone releasing IUD. Progesterone estrogen combination, keep it in your mind. Next one, chemical method of the birth control. What is about this? So we are using some of the chemicals, we are using some of the pills, tablets, creams for controlling the birth. So there are some spermicidal tablets, creams or jelly. Spermicide is such kind of birth control that has chemicals that stop the sperm from reaching an egg. Obviously this kind of spermicidal tablet, cream and jelly are doing the same activity. It should be put it in the vagina before the sex to prevent the pregnancy. So this tablet or cream or jelly has to be put inside the vagina portion, so that when the sperms or the semen will be released into the female reproductive tract, they will be get destroyed by this tablet or cream or jelly, or the chemicals present within this tablet, cream or jelly. So automatically the pregnancy can be prevented. Next very important point is there, that is under the chemical method, that is the contraceptive pills, and that is the most used method by the female. These pills are either progesterone or progesterone estrogen combination, first of all. So it is made up of progesterone hormone, or it can be made up of progesterone and estrogen combination. Pills have to be taken daily for a period of 21 days. So in a 21 days tenure, or in a specific in a long time, 21 days time, it will be taken. Preferably within the first 5 days of the menstrual cycle it will be taken, and after a gap of 7 days it has to be repeated in the same pattern. That means pills have to be taken daily for a period of 21 days, starting from the first day or the first 5 days of the menstrual cycle, and then you have to keep a 7 days gap. Then again for 21 days the pill has to be taken. Pills inhibit ovulation actually, and it is also inhibiting the implantation, as well as alter the quality of the cervical mucus, prevent the entry of the sperm. So actually the function is performed by the pill is, it is inhibiting the ovulation process, implantation process, as well as it can alter the nature of the cervical mucus, and it will prevent the entry of the sperm. And the another type of the pill is also there, which is emergency pill, which is also under the contraceptive pill, which can be taken within 72 hours just after doing the sexual intercourse. After doing the sexual intercourse, by 72 hours, the emergency pill has to be taken, so that properly the zygote will not be formed and the zygote can't implant in the inner wall of uterus. So the pregnancy can be prevented. So this is actually the function of contraceptive pills. Here you can see the figure of the spermicidal cream and tablets. These are the type of you can say rather tools we can use, as well as these are the contraceptive pills. Emergency pills picture is given. Coming to the next slide, where it is actually discussed about the another method of the birth control. It is under the chemical method, that is implants. Implants are actually small matchstick like structure. It is small matchstick like structure you can see in the figure. Those are implanted below the skin and obviously in the hand, actually in the elbow joint, where the elbow joint is present, just in the opposite, that means in the, you can say rather the ventral side of your hand, just below the skin. These implants are commonly implanted. It can be either progesterone alone or progesterone estrogen combination, same thing. Their mode of action is similar to the pills, because the progesterone estrogen combination which is used within the implant, those are very slowly releasing from this implant into the blood, and automatically in the blood, when the progesterone and estrogen level is getting higher, obviously that will be preventing the pregnancy, or that will be preventing the further ovulation process. So their effective period is obviously much longer than contraceptive pills, than spermicidal tablet, cream and jelly. So for that reason, if any female will want that for next 3 to 4 years or for next few months, she doesn't want any kind of pregnancy, so obviously she can go for this option, that is implants. But yes, it is little bit painful, because during the time of implant insertion it can be painful for that female. Last method regarding the birth control, that is the surgical method of the birth control. And what is told actually in this method? First of all, we will be discussing about the male sterilization method, because here the permanent sterilization of the male and female can be performed by this surgical method. So first point is castration is any of the action or surgical or chemical or otherwise process by which an individual male loses the use of the testicles. That means the testicles will be just removed from that individual male's body. The male gonad will be removed. That means the individual male can't produce any of the baby by producing his sperm in future. It's not possible by that individual. So it is a permanent solution of the birth control. So this is the male sterilization method, that is first one, that is a castration. Second one, that is a vasectomy. What is this? In this vasectomy, from the name you can understand only, in this method obviously the vas deferens will be excised, and this is obviously a surgical procedure surgeons are doing. During this procedure, the male vasa deferentia or the vas deferens are cut and tied or sealed so as to prevent the sperm from entering into the urethra and thereby prevent the fertilization of a female through sexual intercourse. So if the sexual intercourse is also performed, so if the vas deferens is cut and after that tied or sealed, so obviously the sperm can't come out from the vas deferens into the urethra, or it can't be released to the male external genitalia into the female reproductive tract. So there is no chance of getting any female pregnant after sexual intercourse also. So the vasectomy is also the permanent male sterilization method by which any specific individual male can be get sterilized. Last one under this surgical method, that is a female sterilization method. So female sterilization method is another method where we can say the first one is a tubectomy. From the name we can understand this, the tubal sterilization, that means the fallopian tube will be excised and after that it will be blocked, and that is thereby preventing the release of the egg by the ovary from the reaching to the uterus. That means if the tubectomy will be performed, if the fallopian tube will be cut, so automatically the ovum which is released by the ovary, it can't reach up to the uterus, and there is no chance of coming sperm to the fallopian tube, and there is no chance of releasing the ovum up to uterus. So for that reason, this is also prevent the pregnancy in female, because the fertilization is not actually taking place, and that is also permanently. Tubal ligation. During tubal ligation, the fallopian tubes are cut, tied or blocked to permanently prevent pregnancy. Tubal ligation prevents an egg from traveling from the ovaries through the fallopian tube and blocks the sperm from traveling up the fallopian tubes to the egg. So if the tubal ligation has been performed, that means if the fallopian tube is cut or excised and after that it is ligated, so automatically same thing it will happening. The ovum which will be produced by the ovary, it can't come out from the fallopian tube into the uterus, as well as if the sperm has also entered within the female reproductive tract, that can't reach up to the ovum because the fallopian tube has cut and ligated. So automatically the way of moving has entirely got blocked. Ovariectomy, this is a permanent solution where the ovary of the female will be removed. It can be also called as oophorectomy, and by which the ovaries are removed or withdrawn from the female body, so that in future that female can't produce any single ovum also. So these are the male and female sterilization methods, and those are the permanent methods which can prevent the pregnancy procedure, or the pregnancy rather. So up to this slide we are completing this video. In the next video we will be starting from the next point of this chapter, that is amniocentesis. We will be discussing regarding that point. So I think whatever the slides I have discussed and whatever the points I have discussed, it is very much clean and clear to each and every one, and you have understood, I think, properly, and I think you have enjoyed this video also a lot. So thank you everyone for listening this video. I will be coming with the amniocentesis process in the next video. Thank you everyone.